Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast.
Wherever you find American troops today, you'll find the men of the Transportation Corps. Enough and on time. That's the story we tell you today. The story of the Army Quartermaster Corps.
These youthful servicemen are members of the Army's Military Police Corps.
One of the most important forces behind the lines, the Army Ordnance Corps.
Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. I am Sergeant First Class Adam Ross, Public Affairs NCOIC for 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. And today we welcome the Team 19 IG team. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. With us today, we have Mr. Rob Foucher, we have Major Rocky Ventura, and Captain David Jones. So, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And so, sir, we're gonna start with you. You've been doing this the longest, so we got to start with you. So, what can you tell me about what brought you to Army Inspector General Corps?
Well, back in 2003, I think it was. Yeah, I got promoted, and I ended up going to Hawaii to be the NCOIC of an IG office. And that was the last 2 years of my active duty career. And then after a 5.5 year break in the private sector, I realized I wasn't helping anybody and started applying to become an inspector general again because I really enjoyed the job. And luck would have it, I ended up right back in the same office I retired out of in 25th Infantry Division, Hawaii, as an inspector general, a civilian inspector general. And I've served 8 years there before coming to Korea to be the deputy IG here at 19th DSC.
Okay, so you've been in the Pacific region then for quite a while?
Yes, all of my IG time has been done in the USERPAC area. Total 13 years IG time, yeah.
Great, a lot of experience on board. And so kind of the purpose of this podcast is to not only meet the IG team, but kind of dispel some myths, maybe educate the listeners on what IG does. So Major Ventura, what motivated you to want to cross over and get in the IG world?
Yeah, so I came on active duty in 2011, came on as AG branch officer. After I finished my key development time, I was looking for broadening assignments, talking to my branch manager, seeing what options I had available. And we talked about IG. It wasn't on my radar at that time, but I learned a little bit more about it. And specifically, she said she had an opening in Korea. And, hey, I've never been to Korea, so I got really excited about it. And so, as fate would have it, here I am serving as a Command IG for 19th DSC.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you came here from Miami, right?
That's correct. My last position, I was serving as the operations officer for Miami MEPS.
Okay, yeah, not many soldiers get to serve in Miami. So what was that experience like for you?
It was hard. It was tough. I mean, rough. The beach life, come on now. Mm-hmm. Sunny weather.
I can't even imagine how rough that would be. All right, and Captain Jones, so we were just talking before we got on the mic, relatively new to the IG Corps. What drew you to this job?
Just being able to get out and assist soldiers. I was post-KD, I had a broadening assignment being an OCT at Fort Hood, 120th Infantry Battalion, 1st Army. So I wanted to get out and kind of broaden myself. This is an excellent opportunity, as Major Ventura mentioned. It wasn't on my radar. Just talking with my branch manager and everything is something that kind of piqued my interest. As a commander, I heard about IG. We had sent soldiers to sensing sessions and whatnot, but just being able to be a part of it and have that immense broadening and looking into what I would look into, I felt the desire to be a part of the IG team.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to have you here. And so let's get into it then with IG. So coming back to you, Rob. So you've been doing this for quite a while, like we said before, if someone asks you what IG does, why the Army has an IG, how do you answer that question?
I answer it like a seasoned IG. Actually, we get a canned response that's been ingrained in the IG community for forever. If someone asks what is an IG, we are the eyes, ears, voice, and conscience of the commanding general of the 19th ESC, and we work solely for the directing authority, which is the commanding general of whatever unit we work for. Okay, even though we support the chief of staff and the DCO and the command sergeant major, the one and only person in the 19th ESC that can have us do anything, direct us to do anything, is the CG, and we have a direct link to the CG, and that's the one thing that is the canned answer. And also what we do is a lot of teaching and training, and the teaching and training and the command IG relationship with the general, historically all the way back to 1778, is the only two things that remain the same since General von Steuben wrote the Blue Book. Everything else in the Blue Book has changed, but those two things, the command IG and CG relationship and the teaching and training aspect of the IG, has been the same for well over 200 years.
Yeah, the teaching and training part, I was thinking about, I don't think I'd been in a unit before where the IG really took an active teaching and training, but I noticed you guys are active with your we see like the newsletters and all that. So what can you tell me about that? Does the CG tell you the kind of things he wants you to highlight with that, or is that more internal?
Yeah, so when I met with the CG, we discussed ways that he could use his IG. We had to teach our commander how to use us and what options are available, and then he decides from there. The infograms is what we call them. That was something Rob already had going, and we just kind of fell into it. But the CG loves it. The team, all the feedback we get, we usually get emails right after it goes out, and they're thanking us like, "Hey, I really appreciated that," or "I didn't know that," or "That was very helpful." So.
Mm-hmm. And so, Captain Jones, coming over to you, what's something that you've done during your time here that you've been proud of with the IG team, one of your projects?
So as the inspections chief, I get the guidance and everything from Command IG, Major Ventura, and as well as the deputy, Mr. Froescher. So we have a plan that we have ahead of time, and just making sure that we execute this inspection plan, and just being able to assist commanders, assist units, and here in the soldiers, we've had several sensing sessions as a part of the inspections that we do. So being able to be a voice, because our inspections, the CG General Allen, he sees these. We write up a report and brief him on the outcome of the inspection. So it's just being able to be a voice for the soldiers at the lowest level. Because oftentimes they're not necessarily heard. So some of the comments and things that they make, we do take those into the report, and the highest level does see them.
And staying on that, being a voice for the soldiers, I think a lot of soldiers think of IG, the first way they hear about it is hear someone say like, "I'm going to file an IG complaint." So what can you say about that part of your job, and maybe how would a soldier best contact you if they feel like they need to do that?
Okay, yeah, there's several ways they can contact us. Email, we have that posted in places. There's telephone, we have them forwarded to our personal phones. Even during non-COVID times, off duty, we'll forward them to us. You could leave a note on the door. You can, leave it under the mat out front of our office. We have received complaints in many different ways, or requests for assistance, not just complaints. But one thing I want to clarify is that, we will listen, but we will not become the advocate for the soldier, regardless of their rank or position. Okay, we listen to what they have to say, and if we can resolve their issue right then and there, we will help them by providing guidance and instruction and regulatory support on how they can resolve their issue. If we can't, we will just gather the information that they have, and then we will analyze what we have acquired, and then we will go from there to make the right decision for the soldier and help them make the right decision. And that's how that typically functions. So to dispel that misconception, like we're bad people, number one, we're not. And the other thing is, too, we're not on your side if you come see us. But to understand, we will help you, but we're not going to, coddle you through the process.
You're not like the defense lawyers of the Army.
No, absolutely not.
Balls and strikes.
That's it.
And so, what kind of complaints have you resolved, like with that fast process where you give them, maybe you inform a soldier of, maybe how they can fix it on their own, or maybe find more information about it?
So there there are certain things that we cannot discuss. However, we do provide, where we provide the assistance, as Mr. Frocher mentioned. We can tell personnel where these certain regulations are. We can, guide them in the right direction of what can and what cannot happen according to policy and regulation.
Right. One of the primary things that we do is when someone comes in, we ask standard questions. And one of those standard questions is, have you utilized the chain of command in order to try to resolve your issue? Mm-hmm. Okay. And when we as IG say chain of command, we don't mean any disrespect to the non-commissioned officers. However, by definition, chain of command is a sequence of commanders. Okay. So we recommend always for soldiers to reach out to their company commander first, using the open door policy, or battalion commander, or all the way up to CNCG on their open door policy if they want to. We won't turn them away if they don't want to do that, but we always encourage that, because almost all cases or requests for assistance that come to us, we will reach out to whatever level commander we deem appropriate. Typically, it's the lowest level. So if they don't have the chance to resolve the issue at their level, we're not really providing that commander the opportunity. And we'll help the commander at that point resolve the issue based off of what we gathered. If the soldier releases their personal information, and then we can tell the commander who it is and what the problem is. If not, we respect and maintain the confidentiality of the complainant, and we will try to discuss it with the commander without disclosing who the individual is.
So there is confidentiality through the whole process.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
If the soldier requests to remain anonymous or doesn't authorize the release of their personal information or any documentation that they provided to the Inspector General, then we cannot release that, and we won't say it. But there are certain circumstances where it's going to be quite obvious who the soldier is, and so even though we won't say the individual's name or anything, the circumstances surrounding the situation are going to pretty much indicate who the individual is. But even then, we caution the commanders or whoever we're working with that, don't go after the individual that you think it is, because I didn't say who it is, and it could have been somebody else, could have been a third-party complainant. Mm-hmm. So don't assume that is who that individual, was that filed a complaint.
Is there anything you want to add?
No, I just remember, I'm thinking about the schoolhouse. They on the confidentiality piece, they equate it to a doctor-patient relationship as well. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to keep things confidential up until the point, maybe there's something illegal going on, or so we're required to say something. But that just popped in my mind.
So it's a little different than like the SHARP and EO process, where, like, for example, like if you told a chaplain something, like they would keep it confidential no matter what. They can't make a report, but you guys will, if it is something like that falls in like the SHARP and EO bounds. Do you recommend that they go to that section, or how does that?
Absolutely. If it's not IG appropriate, if it belongs to the SHARP community or the program or EO or EEO for civilians, just as examples, we will refer to that agency. We have to let the other agencies do their process first. Okay, and if the soldier or the complainant or whoever it is doesn't feel that they received due process of their, working with whatever agency it is after they file their appeal, okay, based off the end result of the situation that they were in, they can come see us and we can conduct a due process review. But when we don't get involved before those agencies get to do their part first.
And staying with your inspecting, like that, because I was part of one of the sensing sessions you did, and why is it important to do those? When you say like you're the eyes, ears, and and sense of the commander. Why is it important to keep the commander apprised of like the morale and the feelings of soldiers?
Yeah, so we have so part of our mission is that we guard make sure the stewardship is happening, the efficiency of the force, and overall readiness. And so we are equipped to utilize several ways to go about gaining information throughout the force to do that. We conduct 4 functions: inspections, investigations, assistance, and teaching and training. Inspections. That's where we go out and you're talking about the sensing sessions. That's where we'll conduct sensing sessions and surveys. And as Captain Jones stated earlier, that's where we get that critical piece from the ground, from the bottom up, and we're able to capture some notes and see if things are running efficiently. And we put that report together and share it to the CG for his awareness.
Okay. And so because you work for the CG, basically you're conducting those sessions on behalf of the commander, right? So that's kind of like your authority to conduct those, right?
Correct.
If someone says, no, I don't want to be a part of this,
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. This inspection plan is approved months out before the fiscal year. And then we start the new fiscal year with first quarter inspection, and so units already know the kind of, at least the topics that we'll be inspecting, and then as we get closer to that inspection, we will brief the CG based on his guidance to us on what he wants from that inspection. We'll brief him our concept of a operation for that inspection, and once he blesses off on it, it becomes that directive. And then those units, we're able to use his directive, which lasts for a period of time, to gain it, speak to anyone we need to speak to, get any information we need to get. And so that directive really allows us, it's kind of like the key, I guess, to go here, go there, do this, do that. And, commanders here have been very receptive. We've been able to get really great information, and I've not seen any an inspection that went bad. Everyone's been very receptive. That we teach them what we do and how we do it, and so it's been good.
And so you have civilians and officers in your office. You also have NCOs. So is it kind of the same sort of duties that you all have, or same kind of skill set?
Yes. So Mr. Fosher, he's our deputy here, and he's been here he's been doing IG for a while now, and so we really rely on our civilians to be that continuity for us here. For the officers and NCOs, it's broadening. Typically, an NCO will serve 3 years in the States. However, in Korea, they're here for 1 year, and they have the option to add that second year. When they leave Korea, they do have an option to do a follow-on assignment, back in the States, as our previous NCOs just did. We just had 2 that left, and they opted to take the other 2 years to do a continue IG assignment. But yeah, it's broadening assignment for military.
And whenever we do come in, we, as the command IG and deputy, they kind of put us in different assistants. NCOIC, or we have a team for that, and we also have a team for inspections. So we just do both of those primarily, and we also do, of course, teach and train throughout. And if investigations come about, then we'll do those as well. But we have a team that's kind of dedicated, so we can focus solely on certain things. But whenever inspections do come around quarterly, we all take part in those, and throughout the entire process, each of us are taking those assistance cases, helping where we can.
Right. You mentioned everybody having the same skill set, and yes, every IG in the United States Army goes to the one Inspector General course at Fort Belvoir, regardless of what your rank is. Even the Inspector General of the Army went to the 3-week course and learned the same thing a Sergeant First Class does on all the 4 aspects of being an Inspector General. So yes, when you leave the schoolhouse, everybody has generally the same knowledge base on at least on how to do the 4 primary functions of an IG.
Yeah, that's interesting, because like for public affairs, like the officer course is completely different from the enlisted, but that's interesting to see. Probably one of the few that's like that, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that it is one of the rare cases that, at least in my military career, where you actually apply what you learn at the schoolhouse and you don't deviate from what you were taught at the schoolhouse. It is what it is, and that's what it is, and that's what you need to do to be able to live by our motto, which is be right, then go forward. So.
And so do you have any projects you're working on right now that you can tell us about? Maybe what goals you guys have for the rest of the year, anything like that?
So currently we're actually in the process of our Strength and Diversity campaign inspection. So that's something that's ongoing. A few of we're about a third of the way done right now, doing about 13 units. So just talking about the diversity and inclusion in the 19th ESC. We had the in-brief, had good participation at the in-brief. So all at each level, battalion, brigade commanders, they're all tracking. CG was there as well, Command Sergeant Major. So we have really good buy-in. That's something that we're doing right now, and we'll, upon completion, get that report. And if CG decides to release it, then that'll be a product that we do discuss later.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming by to all of you. And if anyone needs to get in touch with you, we'll have the information in the podcast episode. And then your office is a little tricky to find, but it's not in 19th HQ, but you have your own standalone office. But we'll have that information in the podcast description. But just want to thank all of you for joining us, and thanks for listening here on the Every Soldier Counts podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. We'll talk to you next time.